Oh, welcome to Dip-a-Toe. Hey, Dip-a-Toers, welcome to the show. We're diving into THORChain's world of seamless crypto swaps with two awesome guests, Denny, a.k.a. Patriot Sounds, and Tanel Tamme. I knew I was going to say that wrong. AKA with the Coke are here to break down how THORChain's changing DeFi game. Got questions? Drop them all caps in the YouTube chat.
Absolutely. It's going to be a wild ride. Denny and Mr. Coke are going to be bringing the THORChain heat from cross-chain magic to the hot XRPL integration. Dip-a-Toers, this is your chance to learn how to swap, stake like the pros. Keep those all cap questions in the keep them come in the chat, and let's get this THORChain party started.
Welcome to Dip-a-Toe. How you doing, Simon?
I'm doing very well. As always, it's hump day. We're doing great, Melissa. How are you? How was your 4th?
You know what? It was fantastic. I had a great 4th of July spent with just Ryan and myself on the 4th of July. We saw a lot of fireworks. And then into the weekend, we went and stayed with some great friends and spent the day on the boat, which was awesome. Spent all day on the boat. I was testing myself out because I'm going to go on that cruise in March, and I've never been on a big ship before. And I thought, I don't know if I can even handle it. And I did just fine on the boat, except for later that night, I was like sitting on the side of the bed, and the room was kind of still doing this, and I was like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
But it was a really, really good holiday. It was wonderful. I kind of unplugged from the net. I didn't really post too much. So those of you who were wondering what the heck I was spending time with friends, and it was fantastic. I will say this: it is hot again here in Michigan. Hot and muggy.
Is it? Man, we got a nice, cool 66 degrees. It's raining. It's a perfect cool down period. It's supposed to turn up the heat like all next week. So, it'll be good. But my 4th was good. I smoked and I smoked and I smoked. And I'm not talking about the herbals. I'm talking about ribs, brisket, steak. Man, I mean, I was like puff, pass. Nope. That's my rib. Get your own. It was a good time. Had the family all over at our house. We let off, my brother-in-law let off a whole bunch of fireworks, so we made a mess, cleaned it up, and, and then everybody else stayed up till 1:30, 2 in the morning lighting fireworks off. So, no sleep.
Did you guys light your own fireworks off?
I didn't buy any this year. I'm building wealth, and so I'm going to wait till, the wealth comes in big waves, and then I'm not going to buy fireworks. I'll probably just buy a fireworks stand, make it a business, and then I'll just take a little bit off the top for my own show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, We got 39 people in here already, just chomping at the bit. You guys, if you're watching on X, come on over to YouTube and join us in the live chat. We have two special guests tonight. I'm really excited. We're going to dive in deep into the heart of decentralized finance with two absolute powerhouses in the THORChain community. Joining us today are Denny, better known as Patriot Sounds, and Tanel, rocking the X handle with the Coke. These two are lighting up the crypto world. They champion the THORChain's mission to make cross-chain liquidity seamless, trustless, and downright revolutionary. From Denny's hype around native XRP swaps and trust wallet integrations to Tanel's updates on Rajira's trading tools and RUNE bond app for node operators, they're at the forefront of THORChain's push to break down blockchain barriers. And with the recent XRP Ledger integration unlocking 100 billion liquidity wave, we're in for a 2-hour masterclass on just how THORChain is reshaping DeFi. So buckle up, debaters. Let's get into it with Denny and Tanel, better known as Patriot Sounds and Coke. Let's get those guys in here.
Fellas.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to the Dip a Toe.
What's going on?
Welcome.
Glad to be here.
We're really excited. You know, Denny, I heard you in Stone's Coffee and Crypto in the morning, and you just were so well-rounded and so excited to hook up with the XRP community. And you've been well received, my friend, in the XRP community. I hope that you find that we're representing well. So what I wanted to do is have you guys please introduce yourselves, share a little bit about your background, what got you involved into the crypto space. We always ask people, was there a eureka moment when you decided to dive deeper into the crypto space, or was it something where you were already working in it? So we'll start with you, Denny, and then we'll go with Mr. Coke.
Okay, hi guys. Yes, you're totally right. And shout out to Stone, Lady K, and all the wonderful XRPers I've met. You guys have been nothing but so warm, and I really appreciate that because usually when people come up to sell you something, it can be a little tacky, but literally what I want to talk about is just something really a power up for the XRP community as well as THORChain. So yes, my name's Denny. History, and I've been in the medical industry for 10 years. A lot of it was in veterinary. Back in 2020, I came to the conclusion, was a little late to crypto, so I'm not like a super OG or nothing, but the modern economic doctrine that we all have lived by for the most of our lives is not looking too hot. There's big problems there, and we need a solution. Got into Bitcoin, looked at it. Bitcoin's pretty cool, but I still wasn't convinced. There's some limitations with Bitcoin. Long story short, I found THORChain. I've been hooked ever since. And now I've been an educator for about 5 years now. I'm totally obsessed with the mission, and I think it represents true economic freedom for the world. That's a big statement. So I'll just stop right there and just kick it to my buddy.
Hey, guys. Yeah. You find me online as with the Coke. Friends call me Coke. So if you want to be my friend, call me Coke. I also was in medical industry 7 years, but as IT specialist. So that's where I found crypto, and that's why crypto came easy kind of for me, understanding how tech works. And I got into the crypto again, like the desperation of how financial systems are working. So I guess 2017, about that time, I ran into the guy called Dollar Vigilante. Maybe you know Jeff Bruvik, anarchist. So I saw a couple of his videos, learned about what Bitcoin represents, how it kind of works in a super high level. Then I started doing research, and then mind was blown, like how Bitcoin works, how the double spend was handled, everything with when it comes to Bitcoin. It was just a brilliant way Of course, as Danny mentioned, some shortcomings, but I knew right away, like Bitcoin is here not to fix everything. Like Bitcoin is not your like all the appliances, everything. It fixes the biggest issue, the fairness of the money. And ever since was hooked dive into the altcoins, some bad, some good, and again stumbled on THORChain and was like, oh, that's the brother for the Bitcoin. So yeah, that's how I got hooked with the THORChain. And yeah, we had some ups and downs with THORChain, and one of those recent downsides, I saw so much misinformation passing around, and but as always, I saw like Tanny and Kenton, Dennis and Kenton doing all that good work, and I was like, I have to get more involved than just holding the token. And then I started aggregating all the information to one place at my YouTube or X, and that's how I try to help out.
Fire! That's absolute fire. What way to go! That seems to be the trend, both of you. That's like the trend. You're in a field. You know, you got a career, right? You know, save your money, work hard, invest somewhere. You know, but you're looking at what was preached to you, and the results that you currently have. You're like, no way, this is not going to work. And you saw something that may, and you guys do what I know Melissa definitely preaches on here all the time. You guys did your research, and here you are. You know, you saw the value and the vision,
Right.
And you know, it's that's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. And again, welcome to the Dip Toe Show, yo.
Yeah, it's awesome that you guys came, and you know, it's amazing. No matter what area of the blockchain you live, and you know what tickles your fancy, we all have similarities in the fact that, you know, you start researching about money. That's like the keystone of everything, really, is the money. It's the backbone of the world, right? How we're all kind of connected with one another. And, you know, we always take the financial system for granted, never really ask any kind of questions. And, you know, when I dipped my toe into Bitcoin, it was more than just crypto. Like, it was all about the financial system and how things are set up. And I find that every single person that I've talked to that dove deep in, that was what really resonated with them. And then from there, it's like, which direction do you want to go? What do you want to become an expert in for a second, right? Because we're never really experts when it comes to this space at all. But you guys both do a lot of educating in your own right, and you're very big voices in the THORChain community. I'm curious, how do you guys work together in the THORChain space, and what roles do you play within that space?
Should I go first?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So, you know, I moderate Telegram. I make content. I educate. Also do spaces, as you're well aware. And with the Coke, it's been a wonderful addition because I'm very time constrained because I'm doing so many things. I have to talk to so many people. I'm constantly doing DMs, constantly answering questions, talking to potential integrators, talking to, you know, XRPers, which is great. I love it. And then with the Coke has been doing an excellent job making the content, and he also makes content himself. He also does spaces. I don't want to take your intro away from you, buddy. But he's doing a great job with videos, and it's just been a great power up. And it's just made my job easier because he's helping communicate complicated things in bite-sized formats. Because when you talk about THORChain, it is a beast. It is a beast. And I will do my best to make it as simple as I can. But I always have resources to help people go down the rabbit hole if they want to know like the technical specifications. But the idea is simple, but how we do it is very complex. So I'll kick it to my buddy Coke.
Yeah, you said it really well. Like if you first time see like the elevator speech about the THORChain, it's simple, it's elegant and simple, but all the brain power, all the compute power that has to be behind. So like Bitcoin runs the Bitcoin, they run just the Bitcoin ledger, but we have to run all the ledgers that we are connecting with each other. And yeah, I am actually, I would say I'm a scout. I'm like this young scout in the THORChain ecosystem. As you know, like Denny inspired me with the Kenton, and I kind of looked at what's going on the THORChain when the times were rough, and I kind of like saw that there's a little like shortcoming. Really, we have those amazing spaces, sometimes 3.5 hours. But
Yeah.
when you go to X, it's just a one-liner topic, maybe a couple of comments down below, already some discussions going on. It's really hard to follow, like what's going on, what was discussed, how much of this maybe, I don't want to, like all the spaces are necessary, but usually it boils down with the beginning of the space is like this core, the meat of the bone. You want to know definitely what's going on there. So I decided, like, I have time in my hands, just finished traveling around the world, went to Asia, did like RV traveling in Europe for 12 months, lived in my car. So I decided, like, okay, I have more time here now. I have the internet. I have a house where I can do stuff. So I started recording those streams and just timestamping and making notes, what's said basically. And also now recently making those like short 2-minute bite-sized bits that you can just see on the X feed and understand the system even more. And it was all inspired from I want to learn more. Because there, many times I said, like, we had rough times and it was hard to crack what's truth, what's not, what's like what's misinformation, what's not. So I just went through and I saw, like, oh, so much bad stuff is like spread around that's not even relevant. So I started making notes, timestamping, and making those short, so it's easier for people to understand what's really true.
I mean, that's fantastic. And you learn more when you're a teacher. I mean, at least I'm finding that myself. And the other thing is when I really just had the courage to start doing a show and putting out there the things that I researched on my own, I noticed that, I didn't always agree with the stuff that I was hearing, right? And there had to be a voice. And I wanted to make sure that, let's see if people agree with what my thoughts are on it. And I started having conversations with people and discovered that a lot of people like to regurgitate things that they know nothing about whatsoever. And when you poke a little bit of a hole in it, they can't back it up. And they're like, oh, well, I never thought about it like that. And the more times that happened, where I got the, well, you gave me something to think about, Melissa, the more that I did it and realized that I need to be confident in my own research skills and my own mind and thoughts and how I'm piecing the information together. And then that way I can have a conversation with others that have other information, and then maybe together we could piece it, into one beautiful big puzzle. And so kudos to you guys for everything that you're doing to try to spread the word.
Yes. I thought that was well said. I mean, you do not want your biases and ignorance reinforced. I want people to challenge what THORChain is and what it's doing. I don't look for reasons why THORChain is going to succeed. I try to think of reasons every day why it fails. And is at the point where I have a hard time doing that, that's when I get excited about something, right? So would this be a good time to talk about what THORChain is? Would this be a good segue?
Yeah. So, well, before we get there, I just want to say hello to the 73 people that are watching. They're here to learn more about THORChain. We've got Kita121 in the house, Susan Roblin, Stir Crazy is here, my friend Stir Crazy, Stone with Coffee and Crypto and Stone in the morning, Crypto Glamma, Bert Sun is here. Who else we got? We got Mountain Magnets and Connie and Nina Blossom. You guys, True Ducal. Wow, Optimistic Prime. You guys, please share this out so that we can get more people in here. We have Crawfish, Born Again, Carlos, and who else do we have? Anybody else that I'm not seeing?
Carlos in the house, right?
Yeah, and Niall from the IMU TV, the IMU Protectors, DCA Crypto Dave. Thank you guys so much for showing up. We really appreciate it. So let's get back to THORChain. let's start with big picture. What's THORChain all about? Can you give us the elevator pitch in like 1 or 2 sentences, and why someone new to crypto should care about it? And then we're going to really start diving into to THORChain. So if you just met me and you wanted to tell me like quickly kind of what THORChain is, what is it? 2-minute elevator pitch. Go for it.
I'll make it quicker than that. So,
Nice.
THORChain is a cross-chain AMM, permissionless, decentralized, that requires no KYC, that allows anyone and everyone to swap assets natively, real layer 1 for real layer 1, in the hope that it promotes freedom around the world, so that people like the XRP community don't get told by some capricious government agency that their asset is a security and they're not allowed to swap it. There you go.
That's what THORChain is at the moment. THORChain is evolving to become something bigger, adding the Ruggira, but we will get there.
I think we might have to do a separate whole thing with Ruggira, because that's a whole other beast. But
we have to mention it.
Yeah, I know, it's huge.
Yeah. I want to remind the Dipitoers that are in the chat, if you have a question about THORChain, please drop it in the YouTube chat in all caps, so that we can spot it easily, and we'll be sure to try and have them answer your questions for you, because I'm sure that you have as many as Simon and I do.
Definitely.
So THORChain's tagline is often tied to decentralized cross-chain liquidity. Can you break that down like you're explaining it to a friend who's never heard of blockchain before? What problem does it solve for regular crypto users? So you're saying, for example, like XRP users would be able to exchange your XRP cross-chain without an intermediary telling them that they have to be KYC'd and all of that. Is that the way?
Yeah,
I understand it.
Yes. So basically, THORChain is permissionless. You can swap asset to asset. So if we start with BTC, let's wind the clock back. This was a system that was meant to be peer-to-peer, between people. The idea of a centralized exchange was not in any way the vision of Bitcoin, right? To surrender the custody of your asset, to give it to a third party, and then they give you an IOU representation on a database, and that is your asset. And then you have to request your asset back, right? This is like the banking system all over again. So the problem it's solving is you want to go from asset A to asset B. That asset A could be XRP to Bitcoin, Litecoin, stable coins, Ethereum, Doge, AVAX, on and on and on and on, right? Real layer 1. So Stone asked me before this, he wanted me to address this. He says, tell me the difference between like THORChain and something like Axelar, okay? So this is where definitions can get a little confusing. Let's talk about a bridge, okay? THORChain could, playing with the game of semantics, could be called a bridge, but it's not a bridge in the conventional sense that we have known. So a bridge, think of it as an intermediary application layer that sends information to different blockchains that like goes to smart contracts and things like that, requesting funds be sent somewhere, right? It's so you have an asset, and the bridge, you're trying to communicate with another layer 1 and trying to tell it, hey, I want to swap this for that, or whatever you want to do, right? It doesn't matter. Okay. The problem with that is things can go horribly wrong. Like, for example, Wormhole, where there was a ton of money lost because someone was able to trick the system. Or you can have a node operator that's bad, or they can spoof something, right? THORChain is literally real layer 1. We exist on the XRPL, right? We have a daemon of XRP that's being run. And so when THORChain is doing XRP, it's literally transactions on the XRPL, okay? And then it's communicating through something called Bifrost. Again, I don't want to get too complex here, but it communicates, because THORChain really doesn't know what's going on. Bifrost is what is the information from all the different daemons, and it uses that to send layer 1. It validates it. It does the swap logic of what the swap's going to be, and then it sends it exchanges it using RUNE as the native asset to the other asset, and it sends the asset. So it's all layer 1 to real layer 1. Very important distinction. And one more thing before I stop is also, I'm not here to sell you anything. You do not need to hold the asset RUNE in order to use THORChain. I'm not telling you to buy nothing. I'm not telling you to do anything like that. Okay. I don't care. In fact, you should never buy an asset unless you fully understand what's at stake and what it is, right? THORChain does not care if you hold RUNE. It starts with the native asset, takes the fee out of that native asset, and then facilitates the swap and pays the gas on the various chains that's involved. That's how it works.
I have a question. So you mentioned Bifrost. Of course I do. I'm going to damn well try to stick to my questions that I have out here, but
no, we're going to go off the rails right here. Boom.
No, it's okay.
We have 90 people in here. You guys, please share this out. Welcome to the Dip a Toe Show. Shout out to Mr. Zamos and Amy and Nest Force. So you mentioned Bitfrost or Bifrost, I should say, Bifrost. Is Bifrost a product of THORChain, or is a Bifrost something that other what do I want to say? Other platforms or creations can use as a tool?
No, it's think of it as a module of THORChain. So there's all these different modules. So as a node operator, each node operator either runs a full daemon, so like a node of the respective blockchain it supports, because that's how it observes transactions. Bifrost is the module where all the information comes in and it parses it to let nodes know what's going on, essentially. Keep this very simple. And that's how THORChain maintains solvency. Like I have Bitcoin and I want to swap it to Litecoin, or I have stablecoin, I swap it to XRP. Information goes in, and on a consensus of the nodes, 66.67%, so 2/3. Okay, that's when the consensus of the information is reached. Then that's when THORChain sends out transactions. So it's just the unifier of information, like the hub that lets everything, like what's going on, essentially, that maintains that like no funds are lost. That because if THORChain has an automatic solvency stopper, if just 1 penny is not accounted for, THORChain cuts itself off right away. It's pauses the thing and says something wrong happened. And the one thing I have to convey to the audience is this is so super hard to do. Okay, it took, and Co could definitely talk about this too. It was a battle to get layer ones to function this way with Cosmos SDK, because that's what THORChain is. It's a Cosmos SDK. The swap logic, the gas fees, the edge cases, the consensus mechanisms. This is real layer one for layer one. It's super, super complicated. It was a battle to get this right, but this is the right way to do it because, again, it is real layer one for real layer one. There's no middleman involved.
Can you just touch on, before we go any further, how long THORChain's been in existence? Because I remember listening to you, and you've been around for a very long time.
Yeah. So so THORChain, its genesis was at a hackathon in Germany in 2019 by the core devs. And then we had something called BEP Swap, which was Binance only. It was just testing out the swap logic. So we only had Binance like assets on there. This was Beacon Chain back in the day. And then in 2021, we did what we always wanted to do. We went to our own chain, because that's what you need. You need to have RUNE needs to be its own chain to facilitate swaps, because each asset is paired with RUNE. So Bitcoin RUNE, XRP RUNE, stablecoin RUNE, and RUNE is the settlement layer between the assets, right? So ChaosNet started in 2021, and that's what mainnet is today. And when I say ChaosNet, it was chaotic. Let me tell you, there was consensus failures, there was bugs. We had a few two exploits back to back, 2021. But we were expecting that, because that's why we named it ChaosNet, right? So we had capital limitations in place. So everyone was made whole. We just took from the treasury. It was like a security audit, right? We put ChaosNet out to the world, and we literally said, come break it.
Yeah.
Break it.
You have to do that, right? I mean, if you're building something, you want, like not a lot of people probably knew about it, but you needed the world to play with it a little bit. And what I always like to say to the Dip-a-Toers is, we're the beta testers. We've been the beta testers, all us early adopters that are giving this space our attention. Crypto's not for sissies. We are beta testing this kind of stuff. And so it sounds like you had some people that were game on with let's try to break the chaos. Yeah. So when the way you're describing RUNE sounds much like XRP as being, being able to exchange value for value with XRP in the middle to kind of swap it out. And so it sounds very similar in that. Yes. So you talked about RUNE. Can you explain? I mean, go a little deeper into RUNE in a way that's easy for everybody to understand, and why it's essential to the way that THORChain works. So it sounds like you don't have to have it. You said you don't have to buy it.
No, you do not need to use THORChain. You do not. If you can sign a transaction on your native blockchain, so XRP, if your wallet literally can do that, it can interact with THORChain. What it is it's a memo in the memo field. It's a custom memo, and that's what facilitates the instructions to THORChain, right? So you would know how to craft a memo, which is that's not beginner level stuff. So I don't want anyone to do that if you have no idea what that means. But just to give, if you can make a swap on your layer native one, that's it. You don't have to connect to nothing. If you can make a transaction, you can swap on THORChain. And we designed it that way. So again, it's accessible as possible, and it's just raw infrastructure, just like XRP. This is why I really like XRP, and I think we're going to be best buddies, because you guys are solving a problem. You are a settlement layer for various things like currency. I know you guys want to do stocks, and as Coke alluded to, Ruggira is coming, and I don't want to get too far into that at all. But I'm like, you guys are building really cool things on the XRPL. Ruggira is building some cool things. Like, let's get together, because it's not like it's just a mutual synergistic relationship there. I swear to God, that's what's going on. So if it's any builders or integrators or anyone like that, like, you have to reach out to Ruggira. I'm telling you, it is a win-win-win-win-win-win. I promise.
Nestforce wants to know why Thor chose to build on Cosmos, and was it the fees, interoperability, or other Cosmo layer ones? What was the reason for choosing?
I mean, the simple reason is it's built as a high-performance blockchain. So it was like this first logical pick to take, because developing your own blockchain from ground up, it's quite hard. And Cosmos SDK has been proven already before that it's really well designed, and it was fairly easy, I guess, to build on, and it has all those functionalities to integrate different blockchains. This is the simple answer. I would actually go a little bit back. We really fast glanced over the users, like, hey, you don't need RUNE to use, and this may be confusing for people. So THORChain, how do I use? Where do I use? So mainly THORChain was built as a backbone of those decentralized swaps to happen from layer 1 to layer 1. And that's what the THORChain mainly is working on. And what's awesome is that then the other affiliates, so to speak, can come and utilize THORChain blockchain technology. Is it the front end, just a website? Is it the wallet? Whatever. They can just push this technology to their users. And as Denny mentioned, you don't need any RUNE. We are not like Casco. Like, we don't offer even like discounts if you hold RUNE. There's zero friction. You just have to choose your favorite wallet, Trust wallet, or the THORChain wallet, whatever you like. Or every week, every month, we add more and more affiliates come on board who adopt our backend. And yeah, that's the main thing. Like, ease of use. You have zero investment to get started. So I would hardly recommend to go on Leodex. There's many wallets that you can try and use.
Right. Can I add on to that real quick? Because that's really good what he said right there. This is so important. If you have a wallet, right, and you want to have native swaps, there are teams like Dorito, SwapKit, okay? They have API aggregators. They can plug it right back into your wallet. Like, the technical lift They do all the hard work for you, okay? And what's great about that is if you are a wallet or an interface or whatever, you can now provide you can provide a service to your customers that was otherwise only going to centralized exchanges. So if you have a wallet and you have XRP on it, right? And a customer who loves your wallet, they love your security posture, they like what you have, they love the NFT, whatever all the cool things are on there, right? If they have to send XRP to a centralized exchange to liquidate it or swap to something, that's your margin that you are losing, that a centralized exchange is capturing for no reason. We do not need to exist this anyway. And now you as a developer team, especially if you're a new upstart developer team, because it's really hard to make money before THORChain, right? Now you can charge an affiliate fee, and now you can make money by providing a service. And you can provide a service that is superior because, again, no KYC, the people retain custody of their assets, and you can charge whatever fee you want. I think the minimum is like 10%. I would not charge that. It would be crazy. But you see what I mean? And you now can provide this service. Like, you're free. You are free to make money and now develop your product and just flourish. And that's what it's about. That's what THORChain wants to bring to the world, to not only to the average person, but to developers out there too. Like, you guys deserve to earn money now, and now you can.
I have a question.
Just 10% maximum, 0 minimum.
Yeah.
Fire.
My question is, have you has there been lawyers, auditors, those types of things that have guided you guys on, you know, the rules and regulations, and that with offering a service that has no intention on having KYC and that sort of thing? Are you worried at all about the future with legislation and rules and regs coming down the pipeline that could affect you providing a service where people can do peer-to-peer without this KYC? I just wonder, you know, I know that, you know, like Patrick Riley and his economic system that he's built, you know, he's passed it through lawyers to kind of, you know, explain to him what they can and cannot do, or what to look for, or he's planning for saving money to be able to fight back because he expects a battle in the future. I just wonder, where does THORChain stand on that? Because you've been building for so long, you're so far down the road, you're incorporating all these new chains in that. Where do you stand as far as that goes?
Coke, you want me to take it, and then maybe you can fill in the gaps of things I miss? Maybe I'll start.
Sure.
Okay, let's talk about the ethos of THORChain. THORChain is combined of individuals all over the world who are trying to solve the hardest problem in the history of blockchain, and that is layer one settlement. Okay, and freedom. Look at the world around you. We have fiat currencies that are failing. I think I don't even check anymore. I think the United States is $38 trillion in debt. Look at the world: disease, poverty, filth, abjection, misery, wars, unbelievable amounts of wasted taxpayer expense being sent to foreign countries only to be misappropriated and sent back to like politician super PACs, which they levy against us, right? The system is broken. So THORChain believes in very, very strong terms. Permissionless means permissionless. Ain't nobody going to tell us or anyone what they should be allowed to swap, because the system, again, is broken. And if we fail to build a system that is permissionless, if you follow the first principles, it results in the subjugation of children. Okay, this is deadly serious stuff. Deadly serious. So we will never KYC. We will never have a non-permission system, and we hope to offer privacy as well. Because a lot of people like to make the argument that, well, you know, if you want privacy, or if you want to swap without KYC, well, you know, you could be a criminal. You could do something bad. You can do this and do that. It is a complete inversion of the reality. The truth of the matter is, THORChain and similar technologies like Maya Protocol and Ruggiera are not designed to facilitate crime. It's to help protect the innocent person from the crimes their own government wants to commit against them, right? That's what we're here to do. So no, I don't care what any regulation is. I don't care what any country says. We have built this thing to resist nation state attacks, okay? We built it as defensively as possible. It's decentralized all over the world. And we're not here to like be combative. Like we have the same virtues of many wonderful governments around the world. Like we hate crime. We hate criminals. We don't want to do that. And we do what we reasonably can do to stop that from happening. Okay. Up until a point, right? But we believe ultimately these are human rights, permissionless privacy. And like we say, KYC, we have a saying, it means kill your customer, because what has happened is people, like their data has been leaked, right? Did you guys hear what happened in New York? You had the 2 detectives find out someone who was a crypto. These are detectives in New York City. And they captured this guy and tortured him for his seed phrase. So,
oh goodness.
So KYC is a very serious thing, right? People like know your customer is given in this really like friendly, nebulous, like, oh, of course you just want to surrender your identity. No. That will be weaponized against you, like your biometrics, like everything else. I'll stop there if Coke, you want to add on to that.
Yeah, I mean, it hits home really strong, because as I mentioned before, like how I found my way into the crypto was through the crypto vigilante and his anarchist. Like he believes in the same ethos, like do no harm, freedom, and serve everybody else as you want to be served yourself. And yeah, as you mentioned, so node providers, it's voluntary system. So if there is, if you are feared like that you may do, that you don't like what THORChain is doing, you have the free will to just churn out, sell your RUNE, and let somebody else come fight for their freedom. So yeah, absolutely, yeah.
We have people who reach out to us. I have friends all over the world now, and there are people in Venezuela that depend on THORChain in order to survive, in various regimes all across the world. Iran too, you name the country that's being subjugated by a tyrannical government. There are people who use THORChain in order to survive. Normal people like you, myself, have a family, they're professional, they have careers. And we are trying to stop, because just, again, it cannot be overstated. Look at the state of the world. Look at fiat currency. Look at inflation. Look at all the craziness and devastation. Look at, like, if you're a child, if you're born today, you are born into debt bondage that you have no hope of crawling your way out. So I encourage people, like, we want to work with anybody, and we don't care if you're a random individual or a government organization. This is the way forward. This kind of infrastructure is what gives the most amount of wealth and freedom and the best prospects of life to every individuals and governments alike. But with the system like THORChain, it means that a lot of institutions may lose the conventional leverages of power they've had over us, like the fiat that we've had to endure for so long.
Question, so is this open source?
Yes.
This is all
100%.
open source. And how many people do you have actually like on the THORChain team? And then second part of that question is, how many countries or nodes worldwide, participation wide? Because I'm getting the picture now that it's kind of like we've been building this for years and it's gotten such a hold now you can't stop it, right?
That's like the hope.
It's getting more and more adopted that you can't stop it. So I'm just wondering, is it something where, like, how many people are working on it and are educated on it, that if the main developer person that created it or the handful, something happened to them, that the rest of the folks could just continue on with the THORChain that's been built already?
Coke, if you want to take that one, I've spoken a lot.
Sure. I will of course, as I told, I'm a cadet. I'm a new guy, so we are running at the moment, at least, up to 120 nodes. And if you ask, like, where are those nodes located? Are they virtual machines or hardware? We have some statistics, like some people are at talks, like Canton, one of the community members, but we run proxies, so a lot of people don't want to expose where they are. And actually, as long as they behave as a network is set up, we don't want to know where they are. You don't want to know where they're running their nodes. That gives us an extra security layer. And when it comes to developers, how many there are and how easy it's to take it over, carry on. Of course, it's harder than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is fairly simple system. THORChain, since it connects a lot of blockchains, yes, there is like a lot of developing going into it. I'm not sure what's the exact developer count, but we have a couple of teams, 9realm, working on THORChain. And it is a little bit more complex. I would say I am for sure not able to take it over, but we have some really passionate people that sometimes, for whatever personal reasons, they have some time off. But when the rubber hits the floor and there's a need for help, people just come back because they really love what they're building for, and the future of the THORChain is just such an important underlying protocol, and we have always enough people to make sure that it keeps going, and it's growing. More and more developers are coming on board. Also with the app layer, there's more interest about the THORChain. So just another day, another guy joined the Rujira team, and we had a couple of hires on 9realm as well who helped to build up this system.
Right. So I'll add on to that. That was all well said. And if so, yeah, we have we have a lot of teams now, but they do separate things. Like 9realms, they do the core THORChain protocol, Coke was saying. We have Rujira. We have all these separate teams building all these wonderful primitives that are going on right now. But let's just say wave a magic wand and all these people disappear tomorrow. THORChain works just fine. Okay, it's designed to just work no matter what. It's designed to be very hardy, where you could have a lot of nodes that need to leave. We're up to almost 120 now. And we designed it this way to be extremely defensive, particularly because of the hostility of the previous regime. I don't want to get political or nothing like that, but I think now we're in a climate of more friendly crypto. So this really defensive protocol that we have, we were ready to fight, right? Because it was looking pretty dark there a few times. I think most people in the XRP community will agree with me there. So THORChain is extremely hardy. For example, if there was let's just say there's a node in Venezuela, okay, and they get doxxed by the government, and the government says, shut that down right now. What they can do is they can take their node, they can destroy it, then they can go to another jurisdiction, and then they can rebuild their node, retain their keys and everything. We have key shares. And that actually was a very tricky, that was actually a risky thing that we implemented in THORChain. Usually you don't want to have something like that, but we worked really hard on it and it works just fine. But we said this is probably going to be necessary to make THORChain stronger, despite the fact that there might be slightly more attack surface on the protocol.
Excellent.
Yeah, this is really, really interesting. I'm curious how. I'm sorry, Simon. I'm asking all the questions.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm juggling
the
chat.
Others. I'm curious. So how many chains do you have it connected with now? And you recently incorporated the XRP Ledger, and I wanted to know how difficult it was. Who do you go to that gave you the approval to do that? Was it complicated to get these other chains involved and to say, yeah, we'll play ball with you guys? So whoever wants to take that question.
Okay, I'll take it, Coke, and then you can go from there. So with THORChain, you don't require permission. Like XRP on THORChain, we literally are running a node on XRP, right? It's the same thing. The only thing is that we have Bifrost that takes the information, right? And then we use Bifrost to determine what is it. So it's actually, we're just on XRP. We're literally on the layer 1. So there is no permission that we need necessarily. Adding a chain is not trivial. I think they worked on XRP for many months. There's a lot of testing that goes involved. We have something called StageNet, where we have to make sure that everything works correctly. We've been trying to add Solana for a year. And Solana is a beast to add because it's super fast. It actually has a different it has a different language that we have to slot in into THORChain. So I think Solana is going to go online soon, but that, like, to tell you, like, this has been such an enormous challenge. We tried to add, like, give you another example, Monero back in the day, but the technology was not there, because the thing that THORChain needs, like, again, THORChain takes solvency very seriously. We have to know where assets are going. The problem with Monero, a privacy coin, is, right, like, there's a lot of obfuscation involved. So how does THORChain know what assets are coming in, what assets are going out? Like, that's a great way to lose liquidity. Just have us send Bitcoin or XRP or whatever to someone. So, so to keep it short, like, we don't need permission to do this. And it's just a power up, right? Because now, like, XRP, you don't need a centralized exchange anymore. You guys can now swap whatever you want, provided on THORChain, of course. And we have DEX aggregation too. So there's actually a lot of assets you have access to now. But it's just a power up for XRP. Like, now like I said, the SEC can't come back in the next administration and say, you're actually a security now, and you're done. So wrap it up, boys. Like, nope. XRP now is just as hardy as THORChain. You cannot be sequestered anymore.
Yeah, I think the hardest part is just to match the technical part of all the blockchains. So I would say THORChain has to be better than any of the blockchains that we integrate, because we have to know them all. Like, the reason why Solana has taken so long is the cryptography, the cryptographic aspects. It's way faster than all the other blockchains, Ether, and that's the reason why it takes so long. We have to adapt the technology that Solana is running on, and then we can onboard them.
Right, right.
I want to welcome, we have 386 people watching Dipito right now, learning about THORChain. You guys, please share this out. If you're not subscribed to YouTube channel at Dipito, please come on over, subscribe, and put your comments in the chat. We are taking questions. If you put them in all caps, we will try our best to get them answered for you. Thank you for coming to Dipito. Simon, what are your thoughts?
Yes. Well, okay. So, will you gentlemen just remind me when you both got into crypto? Just what year?
2017.
2000.
Okay.
Let's say 2020 for me.
For me, the peak of the 2017. So it was only down from there. I have to mention it.
Yeah.
No,
it gives a lot of perspective. Like,
yeah, it does. Yeah, no, it did. I was 2016. I did the 2017 run there. I had my own experience, and then 18 was the down. And,
you know my pain.
Yeah, I do. I know both. I know both. That was I didn't know it could do that. Whoa, I didn't know it could do that either. Yeah, definitely got that. I asked, Coke, you might remember this back in the day. Before MetaMask was MetaMask, it was called Shapeshift. And that was like one of the first places you could swap, and you put in your address and do that. And now here's THORChain. And I love what you guys are talking about, where it sounds like I could put up on my website, if I had a website, right? And hey, if you want to swap right here, you could swap right there on the Simon Says Crypto or the Dipito show or the Coffee and Crypto or whoever, if you have a site, you could do that. That's really fantastic, because that really, if your token is available through THORChain, which that's another question for later. Go ahead, Melissa. I know you want to ask that. Opti's been chomping at the bit about the Dipito token and seeing if you could do that. So, but if we could swap that native to native, then you have the native token, and thus you could open up your trust line like on the XRPL, and voila, you could get that new NFT and that new token. That's really, really fantastic. And I love the fact that it is putting money back into the pockets of the individual. I think that's really fantastic. Again, bringing this element to back in 2016, 2017, I only knew one place where I could get Bitcoin, Litecoin, XRP, and Ethereum. I only knew one place, and that was called Coinbase. I knew there was other ones out there, but for my jurisdiction, that was the path with the least resistance. It was very easy to do. It looked a little bit more trustworthy than all the other sites that I was checking out, right? And so they become very centralized. We've known they're centralized, but now we could just where it's like we're the ma, and we have the opportunity to become the ma and pa swap in our local area. You know,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I could have a 7-Eleven and it's right there. Come in, dude. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, dude, done. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's really fantastic. I love that.
There's lots of questions in here.
Could I quickly spin off on that though? Because
spin, baby, spin.
Okay, I got an idea. I've been cooking over here in my little square over here. Okay, so I'm really glad you mentioned Shapeshift, because Eric Voorhees actually, when he discovered THORChain, he ripped out his backend and he slotted THORChain in immediately. That's how much he believes in the project. So look up Eric Voorhees.
Oh yeah,
videos
I'm familiar. Yeah.
Okay,
See,
so
this is what attracted me, because you guys are connected with some old school people that I used to know more about than I do now. So
yeah,
very interesting.
Okay, I got a great idea for you guys. Are you guys ready? Okay, here we go. So
I'm getting my tea ready right now. Go ahead.
THORChain is about to add something called memo-less transactions. Okay, I don't want to get into the technicals. Okay, but basically it makes swapping super simple, where it uses the gas of a native asset as its marker. Okay, again, I don't want to get too complicated, but what this means is it makes adding swap capabilities to any website, any interface, any wallet. You don't need to have support, because the thing, if you have an interface, the big technical hand is constantly maintaining support for wallets and interfaces like Trust Wallet and Shapeshift and MetaMask and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
With Memoless, you don't get any of that. So what we could do for you guys is you guys could have your own swap interface that would be able to swap XRP for native assets, for all the assets on THORChain, and you guys could charge a fee on it on your website, right? You could cater to your XRP audience. Let's call it dip a toe flow in between assets, right?
The toe flow. And man, we got the toe flow right now.
I just want to officially say that I came up with that idea on my own, of the dip a toe flow.
Dip a toe flow. You know what I'm saying?
That's classic.
But Memoless isn't out yet. It's coming out, I think, pretty soon. I think within months. And when it's going, like, hey, we'll get you guys going, because this is what we want THORChain to proliferate everywhere, to just spread like this wonderful, beautiful plant, these roots just go everywhere and connect everything. You know what I mean? Maybe like some movie like Avatar. I don't know. That movie was a little hippie-ish for me, but something like that. You know what I mean? And yeah, you guys immediately, you don't need to support wallets or nothing, maintain anything. It's a simple interface, and you guys can make money on swaps, but you're providing a service, like I said, right? And now you guys then can actually, because you guys are so engaged, you're doing such a great job, you're spreading education, like you're introducing THORChain us. Like, I don't want anything from you. I want to give you this capability. THORChain wants to give you this capability. Coke wants to give you this capability, because swap volume for you is good for you. And then it's also just more swap volume for THORChain, right?
Yeah.
And anybody that does that. So before we get to these more like end user type of questions, so just the people that are on the wallet that want to do the swapping, I want to get back to nodes. How difficult are they to run a node? Is it expensive? Do you need to buy equipment? Do you have to have a super powerful computer? What's the deal with the node? If we've got 495 people listening right now. I'm sure there's at least a handful of them that are like, where do I sign up? Where do I get a node? How do I do this? So can you walk us through that? Like, I don't know how complicated it is. Sure. Is it something easy? So whoever wants to take that question.
You can take the node part, and I will chip in with node bond provider place that I am actually.
Sounds good. So running a node, this is not a trivial task. Okay, you need to know a lot of different things. You need to be very, very competent. You need to understand something called Kubernetes. Running the infrastructure for THORChain, it is no small feat. But I want to speak to anyone in the audience right now with some technical skill. If you think you might be a candidate, we have a node operator on THORChain and others. His name's RUNE, silly name, very wonderful man. absolutely altruistic, beautiful human being, just a silly name. He's teaching people how to do node operators. I know Lady K actually showed some interest. I don't know where that is. It's very, it is a lot, okay? But we will actually train you. Like RUNE is training his own competition node operators because he believes in decentralizing the network, right? And right now we have a 120 cap on THORChain. It's a little arbitrary. We want to make that node operator count as high as possible, but there's some technical reasons why it's a little tricky, but we're making all kinds of beautiful optimizations right now to even take that up to higher, hopefully 200 plus, right? Because it's just a Cosmos SDK Tendermint limitation right now, okay? So
you keep mentioning SDK, and for the Dipitoers, can you just at least say what SDK is?
Oh, I don't remember the acronym. I'm so sorry.
It's developer kit, software developer kit.
Thank you.
I'm familiar with it, but it's a developer kit. Okay.
You can just imagine as a SDK, it's just a set of rules that you have to follow, so the system would be work between each other.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like
coding rules.
It's its own code, like its own protocol. When you
library,
write it's a library. Yes, perfect.
Right.
So different languages can communicate with each other. Remember the cell phone example I've given multiple times. You're AT&T, I'm Verizon. Well, in the middle there, that's one network. This is the other, and that's where that's a component, the SDK and others. So
it's funny that you're saying that, because that was one of my. I was going to say when they were describing this, being able to go in between the chains, I'm like, this reminds me of like being on your phone and all of a sudden now I can be on Verizon and talk to you on AT&T without getting charged these exorbitant fees,
right?
Because now we're communicating. And I just wondered, like, I didn't know if this was like something very similar to that, like
100%.
you're building something that's going to make it, or is making it, easy to interoperate with these other chains without a high cost or somebody that you're depending on. You're literally just doing it on chain, from chain to chain,
right?
Which is pretty remarkable and like
you
early in the game to create something like that, really.
Well,
right?
It wasn't possible until the existence of Cosmos 2K. That was finally the library that made this possible. Like, we wanted to do this forever, right? Like, how old is the industry? Like 2021. It took that many years to somewhat figure this out. And now we finally got this technology where it's running reliably like butter. It's beautiful. A good pivot, because you guys were mentioning Verizon and things like that. Like, when it comes to privacy and things, like, we already have a historical precedent for this. Remember when email came out? And they were afraid that terrorists and people were going to use email to communicate secretly and all this and stuff like that, right? So they didn't want it to be encrypted. They wanted to be able to read it. But that's obviously a huge problem, right? You can't just, like, if you're a lawyer and with, like, you got confidential talks with whatever, right? You need encrypted private communication. Governments need that. Individuals need that. So this is literally the same logic on that. We're just moving it to blockchain. So we're in the right. We just got, it's coming. I feel like we got it, but it's already, this is a done deal. You know what I mean? Like, this is the right thing to do for the world. It's necessary. Yeah.
Well, hats off to everybody. Tristo, have a go. We love you, my friend. You're amazing. We just got the super chats on the Dipito show, guys. So every time we get one, it's like a celebration of and
keep them coming.
People. Yeah, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it very much. So okay, so everybody can run a node, or no, it's difficult to run a node. You're trying to keep it at 120.
It's just a technical limitation at 120 right now. We want it to go up, but we need more node operators. Like, we don't want to have like one node operator running 50 nodes, right? We don't want that. We want, so if you have, like I said, this is a pitch to the audience. People, this is interactive, right? I'm talking to you guys. If you guys have technical skill, if you think this is something that you might be able to do, chances are I think you might be able to. Be prepared to work, but we will give you everything you need to get you there. We won't charge you. We want your expertise. We want your passion. We want your drive. We want you to be a node operator in THORChain. Yes, there's a lot of RUNE that you need to bond. Are they in discussion about getting THORChain on easy? It's not easy to run a node, right? But If you're going to need RUNE to bond. I'll help you with that. Because you can have bond providers. Actually, Coke, this is your turn. Go with the bond providers. That's right. You were going to talk about that.
Exactly. So I am a bond provider as well. For example, maybe just I don't know, your work or time schedule doesn't allow to be a node operator because we support a lot of chains and all those chains get updated and we have to keep up with those chains as well. So I kind of took the lazy way out and I'm a bond provider. That means I have my RUNE. And instead of just letting it sit in my wallet doing nothing, I can actually delegate my my RUNE to a bond provider that I selected. I can go. You can go to X or whatever places. We have a bond RUNE website as well now up that helps you to find node operators. And you can find like a node operator who may be like a philosophical way or the way that he has done previous votes, or you like the direction that he's trying to get the THORChain, and you can bond with him. And yeah, keep in mind, if you bond your RUNE, it's like delegation. He cannot steal your RUNE. It's still yours, and you can. It depends. So each bond provider, each node operator have their own rules. Some want to churn out every month or every 3 months, and some maybe want to maximize the churn-out process. Now we have to dig in what's the churn-out. So to keep, so I'll do it. So to keep the THORChain blood fresh, running well, and make sure that there is no bad actors, we have this process where every 3 days we kick out 3 players. So the node operator who has made, so to speak, most mistakes or has been like least cooperative, whatever, maybe has technical difficulties, cannot respond, but it's vital for THORChain. You have to be responsive and make those transactions happen. Then we kick out the oldest one. Why the oldest one? We don't have the old money to take over the system. And also, so it's the oldest and the least bond. So the person who has the least on table. So that makes node operators always try to acquire more RUNE to make the system more secure. And our security budget lies on that as well. It's going to be a discussion for next time. But yeah, long story short, you bond your RUNE. You just pick out the person, the node operator that you like the most, or you think behaves the best, or is most active in the community, and you just basically give your votes to him. And you have always possibility to request your RUNE back. But don't worry about that. It's a safe process. You do it from your wallet, just a couple of clicks. You can use AskGuardX wallet, or I've used this, so maybe then he knows what's other wallet providers that I think Thor's Finance supports as well, bonding. There are many front ends.
I just
Question on the bonding.
Posted the RUNE bond link, runebond.com in the chat if anybody's interested in looking at that.
Yeah. And
you saw my guy come get my.
Well, we saw your bartender just wiggle his tushy at you, dude. I thought this was a family show. What is this? What's going on here?
I don't think he knew he was on camera. So
his tushy was on camera.
Jane Y, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Y said, I'm a bond provider too. And she says, thanks, Dennis and Coke. Very cool. It's a 20-day. What did she say? It's a 20-day undelegation period for stakers.
It is not.
Oh, Ness Force is asking that.
So I will continue my my rant, so to speak. As I told you, each bond provider has their own set of rules when they wanna churn out. Yeah, that's exactly why I stumbled on a churning process. Because if you get churned out, so that means you're not in the active set, and you're just missing out a little bit of those fees that you want to collect. You can only earn fees. Node operators can only earn fees when you're in active set. So when you're churned out, then you're not in active set, and you don't earn any fees. And that means that some node operators just set their request 1 month if there hasn't been any churn out request in 1 month. Some do it 3 months. And also, I know a bond provider. It's a little bit expensive, but they have, so to speak, lifestyle package. So if you have 100,000 RUNE, you can churn out, but you can get like active RUNE payouts. So that makes more attractive maybe for people that you can always get every month your RUNE earnings.
Can I mention, that was perfectly said, Coke. Well done. I want to mention Jane real quick. So remember how I talked about Dip a Toe Flow, the interface you guys are going to build? We're going to help you.
Yeah.
Jane has something called Chat and Build. It's incredible AI technology. I cannot emphasize how amazing this is. We actually can build you guys an interface in minutes. Okay.
Yep,
and so if your wheels are turning about like, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to build it? I would, I just got on a call with her 2 hours. We did 2-hour call yesterday, and I chat with her all the time. She's a regular on on the spaces we do. Reach out to her. She is doing incredible things. She's also on THORChain, just like, Coke is. So, when the time comes, Memoless, we'll hook you guys up. We'll get you guys going.
And it's soon.
Yep.
And she says she can do a demo. So yeah. If you put your handle in the chat there, Jane, so that I can follow you on X if you're on X. That way we can connect. That's fantastic. Gosh, we've kind of went way out of the order, but we're kind of talking about all of this and people being able to run nodes and the opportunities that they have with that. So I don't know if this is an appropriate time, but the liquidity pools part, it seems like that's a big part of THORChain. Can you explain to the dip-a-toers what a liquidity pool is and why it's better than the traditional order book model that's used by the exchanges? So why would they want to participate with the THORChain liquidity pool?
An order book. Well, okay, let's centralize exchanges. It is just IOUs on a database, right? Like FTX, right? FTX was doing all these swaps, having all this volume, doing all these cool things, facilitating customer flows, until it suddenly came out where they had no money and all their math was just nonsense. Kind of reminds me a little bit of ExxonMobil, right? Where the market, had a valuation until they didn't because it was fraudulent, right? Everything on THORChain is on chain. You can follow it with a block explorer. There is nothing obfuscated on THORChain. You can follow everything, okay? Very, very important. So liquidity pools, how it works, XRP, you want to go to, let's Bitcoin to XRP. I hate Bitcoin. XRP is the next big thing. Let's swap it. You can go 1 Bitcoin. It gets converted into RUNE. And then, so it's a Bitcoin RUNE pool, right? They're like this. They're at the same level valuation wise. So the Bitcoin gets swapped to RUNE. That RUNE goes to the XRP RUNE pool, right? XRP RUNE now. And that RUNE gets swapped out in that pool to RUNE to XRP. Okay. Real layer 1 swaps happening. Yep. And that is real asset. Like, again, I can't emphasize enough. These are real assets. It's not, you don't need to trust anything. It's a trust minimized system. It's trust minimized as we possibly can make it, right? That's why it's better. Like an order book on a centralized exchange, is the assets there? Yeah, you're having fun flipping IOUs, right? You're having a great time. You're paying fees to the centralized exchange, right? I've got 20 BTC. I'm the best trader in the world. I'm going to go buy a Lambo. I'm going to get 3 wives, whatever you're into. I don't care. And then suddenly FTX, you're rugged, you got no money, right? This is a problem. Or unfortunately, where centralized exchanges, they custody other people's assets, and you'll have a Bybit situation where $1.5 billion, there's $1.5 billion stored on one address. What a target. And they get exploited and they lose it all, right? So you being your own custodian of your own assets must be what people go to. This is the way it's supposed to be. And our job as XRP, THORChain, any blockchain, we need to abstract away the complexity as much as we can so we can on-ramp people. This should be a brainless thing that you do. Like if you have, like I imagine like a wallet, right? Like even the dumbest person can hold cash in their wallet, right? They understand that. We want to get to the point where maybe it's on your phone, and then you go to like a grocery store and you buy a bunch of groceries, and the price is 2 XRP because XRP is $250 now, right? And then you take your phone and you go, boop, boop, and then you're done. Like we want to get to that point, right? We have a lot of steps to go there. So again, THORChain is just that raw infrastructure that the world is going to build upon to get it where we can build the systems like XRP envisions, at least help you along the way. You guys are building amazing things. We want to help you. We want to take what we're building and just come together and just make XRP better, make THORChain better. This is the most beautiful relationship we possibly could have.
Well, you know, and just to touch on making it better plus liquidity pools, because really I was going to ask about, or just really highlight, I already know that it is, but I know there's a lot of debtors that don't in regards to the bonds, but I'm going to circle back around. You know, making it better, in my opinion, is anything that all communities can do to further expand the awareness and use of said network, coin, etc. Right? So here's a great example and a great partnership, arguably network to network, layer 1 to layer 1. Any layer 1 you want to play with, you got it right there with THORChain. It's available for you to do in your own time. Don't have to create an account. Here's my ID. Here's this. Here's that. Da, 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 da. I'm not saying that that's, you know, well, I'm not going to come from the lazy perspective, right? You know, that's it kind of was a pain in the butt to KYC, right? But that's their process. Oh, hey, I don't have to do that, but I still get this real asset. Back in the 2017, we very much knew that the majority of exchanges did not have a chip for every poker chip they had in their exchange. We knew it, right? And it's still, to arguably, it is still done that way today. Where am I getting back to? The liquidity pools allow that availability of XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, THORChain, etc. Right? Those layer 1s. It allows a global adoption. It's another extension of global adoption because in certain jurisdictions, you brought up Venezuela earlier this evening, and a whole bunch of other jurisdictions to where the individuals there need their own access to these digital assets without the third party. THORChain is a third party, arguably. That's what it's supposed to be. The network is between me and you. Now, the liquidity pool and the bonding, I think that's great because the bond is a form of decentralized finance. So if you you set your kind of your own terms with the RUNE bond, right? You were talking about a 30-day, 90-day, etc. You know, that's pretty standard protocol in TradeFi with different things, say like an option, right? And just a side note that I would like to just kind of plant a seed in your guys's, well, the debtors' mind. Here in the United States, we have these rules and laws that literally say no entity or government can interfere with a contract. So let's back up a bit. If I have a layer 1 and I want to swap for a layer 1, that goes through a protocol and arguably a contract. I'm doing this. It's getting sent there. I want this back. Boom. That's a contract. You can't interfere with that. I'm sorry. You know, it's a done deal. So when we start thinking about these things, we really are doing private contracts with ourselves or others. And for us to have access to that network that allows that service to take place again, providing a service, well, that's a contract. It's verbal, might not be written, but it's verbal. And then we do it digitally, and you can see the history of that. And this offers us the ability to put our money to work by participating in liquidity pools. Actually, I like this liquidity pool. I got you guys on DeFi Llama right now. I've had it up since the start of the show because I wanted to see if it showed all the coins that are locked up in value on DeFi Llama. And so there's a couple of them there. And so I just had one question in regards to XRP, since you guys have integrated with the XRPL. Is the X RUNE, is that
No.
dedicated? No. Okay. All right. Perfect. Good.
Sorry, I know it's really confusion. There's other.
No. It's okay. It's okay, because I mean, I didn't think so. I'm like, no, that's totally something else, because I see you got the BTC here. You also got the wrapped BTC, which that's really cool too. You got USDT, USDC, wrapped ETH, Doge, BHC. Or Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, AVAX. Of course, you got the Almighty Thor. You got Avalanche, Atom, DAI, and it looks like there's a little bit of some others on there. I'm highlighting this because I know that people that are in the Dipito crowd are exploring DeFi. So when you have a chain, THORChain like this, that offers interoperability in regards to swap, layer 1 to layer 1. Okay, that's like huge. That's been a problem since the beginning of crypto, of trying to swap and trade in arguably in the private, right? And you guys have highlighted that. This is an immense value. This is real value. The ability to swap on my own terms for what I want when I want, for a small nominal fee. No slippage, right? We're an exchange. In exchange, they have slippage. So they charge you the fee plus the difference, arbitrage. That's how they make their money. Okay, fine, cool. But now there's sounds like there's a more you and me better transaction without having to go that way. And I just wanted to highlight that this is very huge for DeFi. This would be in my opinion, I will be trying to participate in these liquidity pools. Small, of course, because I'm always about dipping my toe, because I just want to see how it works. But this is really an expansion, or rather, an expansion of where DeFi really is going. It's in real time. You can look at it. It's beautiful. Very, 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 very beautiful.
We have like 40 minutes left or so.
Okay.
45.
I won't talk anymore.
No, I want you to keep talking, but I think for people to understand how they can participate. So we've kind of covered the node stuff. I had people in the chat asking, like, Nest Force had said, what would be the most ideal wallet to use for multi-sig transactions? I wanted to start a project with some friends, but can't find a functional multi-sig wallet that allows stable coins. Is that a question that you can address? It actually wasn't the road I wanted to go down. I wanted to get people to understand, like, how can they actually participate with a wallet and THORChain? And then I got a bunch of questions about this platform, or the thing that she was building and making it easy for people to do things on the THORChain. But if you wanted to participate, what kind of wallet would you use? Like, you could use an XRP, like the Zaman wallet, right? You could use the Trust wallet, right?
Trust wallet, yes. So, hey, by the way, real quick, hey, Coke, how are you doing, buddy? I know it's late there.
I'm fine.
You're fine. Okay, cool. I want to make sure. He's really late, you guys. So that guy, Coke is awesome, and he's been
3:30.
Yeah. Okay, you're awesome.
We appreciate you, Coke. Thank you so much for coming to the Dipito show.
So I mean, we had the meme going on the THORChain. I started the meme where there's the guys urinals, and there's one guy taking a piss, and another guy goes next to him and says, "Hey, do you know about the THORChain?" And the ethos of the RUNE is the meme is that there's never a wrong time to spread the word of the THORChain. So
that's right.
Never wrong time, even if it has to be the next guy at your urinal.
So to answer your question, what I'm trying to say is, like, the Zaman wallet, right? Perfect example. They can have cross-chain swaps now, right? So this is where I have to express my ignorance. I've come into the XRP community, Stone and Lady K and Stake and Opti and Miss Poo Poo, all these people, like they've been really wonderful educating me, because in my own ecosystem, I'm just so deep in it, right? Like I don't have the bandwidth to learn about like what, Radix is doing. So the thing that the simple thing I try to convey is, if you have a wallet that you currently enjoy, you need to tell those developers to contact someone like SwapKit, and they can plug it right into the back of the wallet that you already like, and you can start doing swaps right there. If you want to make your own wallet, that's above my expertise, as I'm not a developer. But I could get you all the resources you need to integrate. In fact, if you want to take a Coke, I'll get that right now.
Yeah,
I wondered if you connected with Zoj.
Yes, I have. I've talked to him a little bit. I haven't like connected, but yes.
Yeah, he'd be one to connect with for sure. Sorry, Coke.
So yeah, you can take wallets. I mean, THORChain is in a sense complex. Like we have the back end, then we have the front ends that we don't control, and also the wallets that the front ends integrate. And there are a couple of wallets that are more meant for like using in the ecosystem. So I actually I have 3 wallets that I use actively. So I have Ledger Nano S, but this is just a hardware wallet that I have to connect to the one of the front ends to make my transactions. Then there is a Asgard X. Is it Asgard X? Asgard wallet that is more like THORChain friendly. They implement all the functionality that you can do inside the THORChain. You can initiate your bond from there. And then I just recently, actually, quite late, but I installed myself a multi-sig wallet. So that's another interesting wallet that is created by one of the co-founder of THORChain. So this wallet has a lot of THORChain functionality in mind as well, and it's a great wallet because comment just mentioned like about the multi-sig. So this multi-sig wallet is, you can set it up with three devices. There's no seed phrase. So you have, and each device that you set it up will produce you like a backup vault share. And to make a transaction, you have to initiate from one device and accept from the other device. And the third one can be just as a backup. And you can do it whichever way you want. One day you want to start the transaction with your laptop and accept with the phone, or some other day you want to do with the phone and accept with the tablet. So I think if you need a multi-sig, you can set up more than 3 as well. Maybe you have like a company or buddies. So I think look into the multi-sig wallet. It makes this, you can make your own rules there, and it makes life easier.
What is that multi-sig wallet?
Multi-sig. Let's see. How can
I put the ecosystem link to all the different interfaces in the private chat. I'm sorry, I'm so dumb. I didn't join the thing on the thing, so I can't directly post. But one thing I want to be clear, I forgot to mention, because you were mentioning assets on there. I want to be very clear. There's some governance tokens. Like there's something called THORSwap. THORSwap is not THORChain. It's a specific interface with a different team where, we're close to them, right? But they have a token called Thor, THOR. That's not RUNE. That's not used in any governance. That's a revenue sharing token, right? And there's other interfaces like Thor Wallet. Again, I'm so sorry this is complicated. I know that's confusing. That's a separate team too, right? So THORChain right now does not have its own interface. I think that's going to change. I think we are going to make our own interface. That's up for debate still, to be determined. Because what I would love to do is show up right now. It's kind of a wasted opportunity where I say, hey, you should use THORChain. It's like, well, how do I do that? I want to be able to give you a link that you could go right then and just test it out, right? So because I'm a general educator, I do my best not to give preferential treatment. It's because they're all separate teams. They all compete and they all try to do the best product they can. But Multisig, yes, it's really good what Coke said. Someone asked about Thor Wallet. That's an amazing wallet too. I would just recommend trying a few of them and playing with them just to get a feel of what a swap is like. Just use low amounts of money. Don't do anything crazy. Just play with it, okay? And then you get a taste for it. Then you understand what it's like. And then you go to Xamarin Wallet and say, hey, guys, you want to make some money and you want to provide a better product? let's reach out. Let's talk to THORChain. Let's talk to SwapKit.
I'm trying to post those those links.
I know.
I don't know how they're coming over because I don't
perfect.
have.
They're good.
Are they
Yep.
coming over great?
They're good.
Oh, fantastic! So I'm trying to do the link tree. The link tree is probably really helpful because it has everything on there, right?
Yes.
So for those of you that are in the chat that are interested, and what we'll do is I'll go back after the show and we'll put it in the description so that you guys can find the links in the show description, and then I'll put a post. I'll put it under a post that's streaming on X right now. Because it is like we always say, crypto's not for sissies, and at some point, most people they just start using a system, right? It's like, here I have my wallet that I want to do, and you install this, and then what she had built, and you put it on your website, and you're done. You're not. Most people aren't concerned what's happening on the back end. Like, we never asked the bank like what's happening with our money on the back end or whatever. We just trust. And but those of us that are dipping our toes into this ecosystem early on, we're trying to learn everything we can. We're trying to have an understanding of it. But I could see where once this is all fully built out and stress tested, and you can fully what do they call it? Where you've just expanded it to really have full potential. Most people will just use it and not even ask questions. Like, it works out that way.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
I forgot to mention, Simon said something. So if people are really excited about THORChain, I really want to be clear about this. Make sure you understand how everything works. Don't invest a penny until you understand how it works. Simon, you mentioned the liquidity pools. I would actually recommend, if people want to get RUNE and make a yield off of it, I actually recommend bonding, because with liquidity pools, there's a lot of things to understand: impermanent loss, blah, 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 the differences between a symmetrical ad, asymmetrical, stablecoin behaviorism. It's very, very complex. I actually would say I would not recommend becoming a liquidity provider, as hard as that is for me to say, because you got to understand how it works. With bonding, you don't have impermanent loss. So you're not going to end up with less RUNE, if that makes sense. Okay. If you bond your RUNE, you're going to earn RUNE on your RUNE. Okay. So I just want to make sure that's absolutely clear. I want to make sure that.
Is that very similar to staking, Denny?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, okay. So here's the deal, Simon, this resonates with me, and tell me if you're getting a similar feel, but it reminds me back of the Divi node days. When I was running a Divi node, and you had mentioned Damon, I was proud of myself for even knowing kind of what that might have meant, right? Because I dipped my toe early on into running what they called the Divi node, and there was a copper node and a gold node and all these nodes, and silver node, and you had to have so much Divi in order to do the node, and they were experimenting with different stuff, and you got rewards. I don't remember what kind of system they used to distribute the rewards, but it was a different kind of a system. But in any event, it's sounding like, if you're bonding your RUNE, then you're kind of letting the system use your RUNE, maybe, perhaps. Right. But it's still yours, and then you can just pull it back at any time. It's not like putting it into a liquidity pool per se, like a group where if something happens, then it could literally be gone, right? Like if it's not handled properly in a liquidity pool, your coins could be gone that you put up. But with this, it sounds like it's a little bit different. It's more about letting the system work and run, right? You're facilitating the flow of the THORChain. Am I right? Am I in the arena?
So yeah, well, yeah, sort of, yeah. So liquidity providing, it's just impermanent loss. So if one asset, like you add assets to, and it's equal level. So when one asset goes up in value or down, like and so you inquire a permanent loss. Fees added to your position eventually keep up with that, but that's really complicated. Like I said, I don't want it. But the bond thing, as Coke was saying, when you bond your Rune, like you go to runebond.com. Each node's going to have parameters. Like if people can listen to this, go to runebond.com. Don't leave the show if you can't do both twice at the same time. But if you go there, it'll show you nodes that are available and what their parameters are. Like I churn out every month, because when you're churned in, you cannot remove your Rune because it's providing security to the network, right? Very important. So it's locked up for an arbitrary amount of time. Like Coke said, maybe a month.
Like a bond, like
Right.
a short-term and a long-term bond.
Correct.
Similar concept, right? You're not pulling your money out. And if you did, you'd be getting a penalty on it. You know, like, I don't know if you guys do that, but I'm just saying.
No
And
penalty.
you're saying the node operators themselves, they set their own parameters from which you want to participate with that particular node. And, you know, if you want to go by with what they're offering you, then you choose that node to bond with. Am I right?
Right. Yes. And there's some like nodes like Maya Protocol Alex. He has one node where, let's say you bond, I don't know, 10,000 Rune. What happens usually is your Rune is auto compounded. So every churn, every 3 days, your Rune's auto compounded. So it's constantly auto compounding, right? But how he does it, just people like this, instead of the Rune auto compounding, he takes the rewards and he sends them directly to your wallet address outside of the module. So it's not locked up. So if you get like 30 Rune in earnings, it doesn't become, what I say, 10,000, 30 Rune in the bond. It's still 10,000 or whatever it is. But those 30 Rune go to your address so you can actually play with it, right? But some people rather just have that stay in the bond and just constantly auto compound. They're like their time horizon, they want to stay in as long as possible.
I actually didn't know that Alex offers that service. That was the kind of thing that I mentioned as one of the node providers said it's like a lifestyle package or lifestyle way to, maybe you have so much Rune that it kind of covers your daily expenses. So you can use this either Alex or the other guys' services. So you will be sent your Rune to your wallet address.
Opti's asking what token on the Examine wallet. I don't think RUNE is on the Examine wallet. So, but we could get it there. So I love it. So
I want to shout out. We have 1,007 people watching the Dip a Toe show right now. Thank you. Please subscribe to @Dip-a-Toe. I know most of you are watching on X. If you would kindly step over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We're really trying to get to 1,000 followers. We're @Dip-a-Toe. You can find us real easily. It would be super awesome if you would do that. Now we're talking about earning, right? So you're if you do choose to bond your Rune, this is where, you know, so you're not doing the know your customer in that. So I'm assuming, you know, anybody that's participating in this is responsible for keeping track of their own earnings, right? And then what they choose to do with it, is what they will. But it's a very real thing. So, like, depending on where you live, I mean, there are consequences to earning money or tokens, value of whatever. Do you guys have any kind of education surrounding that for the folks that are doing this, or they just need to be they just need to realize that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
because most people don't.
There is a simple thing. There's too many jurisdictions to keep track. And as you know, at least as for me, for Estonia, we just raised the income tax and this and that. It's always changing. I do it under my company, so we don't have, luckily yet, the company income tax. So it's super simple. Bookkeeping, just once per year, I have to report how much I have, and that's it. Yeah, a lot of jurisdictions. I don't know. At least I don't know. Maybe Denny knows any tools, but I don't know any tools. You have to.
No, I mean it's too complex. I mean, you have to know the laws in your own jurisdiction, your own country, whatever. You know, there's just no way we could
No.
make something that could explain it. You know, some people, I guess some people can't. Yeah. I don't want to go into it because it's so complex, but yeah.
Sure. No worries. No worries. So if somebody wanted to participate with this, are they going to a website to participate? Yeah, or just even getting involved in THORChain at all? Like, where do they go to buy RUNE? Or they don't even have to buy RUNE. So I guess we should go back to, you know, if somebody wants to exchange Bitcoin for Ethereum using THORChain, walk me through what that looks like.
Yeah, we have a lot of new listeners. So THORChain does not require you to own the RUNE asset. We don't care, right? That'd be a very bad design. That would be a breach of first principles, because like for you to learn what RUNE is and acquire the asset for a gas token to make a swap, that friction is far too great, and that in no way serves our ultimate goal of facilitating cross-chain swaps. So if you have an asset like Bitcoin, your fee is deducted from the starting position of your Bitcoin. Let's talk about fees real quick. The fees on THORChain are very cheap. Interfaces charge various fees. I think Trust Wallet does 70 basis points. Ledger's like a percentage. Some do 30 basis points. Asgard X is low. I mean, they all have different services, right? There's different perks and disadvantages, right? So the base fee, like THORChain, the protocol itself, is 5 basis points. For a double swap, so Bitcoin to Ethereum, that's 10 basis points, right? Because it's 2 swaps essentially. Okay. So I don't remember who was on your show. Like someone was saying they charge like 3.5%.
Yeah, Caleb and Brown.
Right. So okay, if you were making $1 million swap, just keep the math super simple. 3.5%, that's $35,000 for a fee, right? If for 10 basis points for $1 million, that's $1,000. That's $1,000. Yeah. $1,000. That's crazy, right? That's nothing compared to the thing. And so it's much cheaper. And again, no KYC and permissionless. So anyway, sorry, I went on a tangent. To get back to your original point, doing a swap, Bitcoin, you can sign a transaction, you can make a swap. That means you have to make your custom memo. The other way you do it is there's interfaces. Coke mentioned them. Voltisig, Thor Wallet, Thor Swap, Edge Wallet, Trust Wallet, Ledger. The ecosystem link that we have down there, it has a list of all the interfaces, okay? THORChain does not have its own interface. That's probably going to change. I don't know, again, to be determined. But if you go to the interface, all an interface is, it is a custom memo generator. So it does the hard work of making a memo. It's stating your intent. And THORChain does exactly what the memo tells it to do, okay? So that's why memo crafting is so important. You can make your own custom memo. I can give you a guide, but you got to know what you're doing. Because, like I said, THORChain is literal minded. It'll do exactly what the memo says. So if you mess up, could be really bad, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's all it is. And it makes your memo for you. So you connect your wallet or whatever. Or like Thor Wallet, it is a wallet, it is a phone wallet. And you just do the swap in the app. And you go from one asset to the other. You pick how much you want, what asset you starting with, what asset you're ending. Sign the transaction, boom. You do not need to hold RUNE ever at any point.
So I would say, are you downloading an app then for THORChain to do this, or
it depends? Like I said, you can craft your own memo, and you don't have to. If you sign it, like you can go in any wallet and you craft your memo and plug it in the memo field, you can make a swap. But you have to again know what you're doing, or you have an interface like THORswap.com. That's an interface online, right? So is Leodex. Thor Wallet, again, I know this is complicated. I'm so sorry, you guys. I know this is brutal work to do. That is a wallet app on your phone, maybe like Zaman Wallet. I think that's what Zaman Wallet is. Or like, what's the Joey Wallet, right? So there's all kinds of different interfaces, all kinds of wallets, all kinds of different things. Voltisig is devices, right? So there's a lot. Ledger.
Actually, I would say it's not that complicated. We are not just used to it for a simple reason. Bitcoin itself doesn't have native wallets, so to speak. There are a lot of wallets that adopt Bitcoin. Right. Ledger, we can even say Binance, like the front end, but of course they take custody. And same happens with THORChain. THORChain itself is like a backbone of this swapping logic and everything. And all those front ends just support the functionality of the back ends. And every day, some come online, more front ends come online, more wallets adopt the THORChain. You just have to get used to tracking and just knowing where to track and see who has adopted it and who has not. We are just so used to with Bitcoin. Like Coinbase has Bitcoin, Ledger has Bitcoin, Trezor has Bitcoin, and THORChain is just a little bit newer asset than Bitcoin.
Well, if you want a little lore, I don't know if you know this, Coke. Trust Wallet was like our biggest. Trust Wallet's the biggest wallet in the world, right? Trust Wallet, after we integrated them and they started earning affiliate fees, they came to the developers and said, "Thank you. Finally, after all these years, we have a business model that's consistent and works. We can charge fees." And remember how I told you about your own dip a toe flow, right? You can make a memless transaction. I see Stone in the audience. You could have a Stone swap, right? You can have your own interface too. Like anyone in the audience, anyone listening to this wants memoless transactions. Again, that has to come live. We have to test it out. So, stay tuned. But literally anyone can start their own interface and start facilitating swaps for people. And that's great. That just decentralizes everything, right? There's just unlimited points of contact at THORChain. And that's what it should be. It shouldn't be a sequestered, pigeonholed, difficult thing to do. It should just be as simple as possible. You have this asset, you want that asset. I have this, I want that. Done.
Well, and I think that now I'm starting to understand more as we've dove into this a little bit more. But that's where I think it's at Moja or something like that. The
Mocha.
payment. Yeah. Okay.
Mocha.
That's where Mocha is. They're going to come on this show, I think, next week. And I think that's where they kind of fit in, because that is like you being able to accept a payment, right?
You want a teaser?
Yeah.
Tease
Me.
Okay.
Tease
So
me.
all the stuff I talked about, that Coke talked about, this is raw infrastructure. It was so hard to get THORChain to this point. It took so much effort, so much developer time, so many mistakes, so many victories, so much pain, blood, sweat, tears. We're here now. You have these decentralized liquidity pools. You can swap assets, but that's not all you can do. What can you build on top of this? That's what Coke was alluding to with Rujira. Let's talk about Mocha. XRPers. You want XRP to be a settlement layer. You want to be able to spend your XRP. You want to be able to have a business and accept that asset, right? Or whatever asset. This allows you to do it. Mocha, M-O-C-A, Mocha app _ on X allows you to do that. Check this out. You have a business. Up until this point, everything we mentioned is just people in crypto land. People who are like normies. I hate to use that phrase, but you know what I mean. Ordinary people, right? They don't know how to do any of that. They don't know how to make a swap. They don't get it. It's beyond their understanding. Okay. This is how you on-ramp millions of people in the whole world. With the decentralized liquidity pools of THORChain and Maya protocol, if you're a business, you're selling a product. Let's say you're selling a hot dog. It's going to cost a 1 XRP, whatever, right? The customer comes in, they have the Mocha app. You say, okay, I want a hot dog. That's 1 XRP. What happens is on the Mocha app, ready? XRP goes to THORChain, gets swapped into RUNE, and then it's in whatever settlement asset that you want. Maybe XRP is your settlement asset. In that case, it would just be a direct send to you XRP. But let's say you want a stable coin. You legally have to hold stable coins. I don't know, whatever, right? XRP goes to RUNE, gets swapped. It goes to THORChain, gets swapped to RUNE. That RUNE gets swapped to a stable coin. That stable coin is sent to you. This is a settlement layer. This is a settlement layer. We're now selling real world goods and services, right? Real world goods and services with decentralized liquidity pools. Why is this so powerful? What does MasterCard and Visa charge you as a business? 1.5%, 3%, 300 basis points? Mocha can be so much cheaper. In fact, on some small swaps, they don't even want to charge a fee because they want to on-ramp people, right? You can use this for anything. A coffee shop, hot dog stand. You can sell vehicles with it, right? Like at a car dealership, block time, like you have to take block time into consideration. BTC, 15 minutes. You're at a car dealership for more than 15 minutes, right? So in that case, BTC could be used as a settlement layer. You guys, okay? This is huge. Now, all we need to do to on-ramp people is to have Mocha go wide stream and similar technologies. I'm sure there's going to be copycats, right? And people now can sell and buy real world goods and services, a massage, go to the veterinarian, the doctor's office, go to the theme park, whatever, with decentralized liquidity pools. This is infrastructure being built in real time. It's happening before our very eyes. It's crazy.
Which is really cool. I mean, just even, I mean, I just think of all of the folks out there that have projects, right? And, or they have shows, or they have their NFT collections, but then they've decided to dip their toe into real world t-shirts and hats and yada, yada, yada. And they could literally have this on their website and accept crypto as payment, direct, boom, not have to really pay much. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you could do. Or Lady Dev, you know, she has a charity that she does. She could accept payments directly and put that in the wallet. Also, you know, anybody, anywhere. Now, could somebody do, like, say, RLUSD or what's
Don't
the
help
other?
me with that. I'm not. Do you know if we support that?
Yeah, or any of the stable coins. What stable coins does it support? So I guess what I'm saying is, once, what is it, USDC or something like that?
Yeah, USDT, Ethereum
yeah,
stable coins.
Yeah. If anybody has any of, like, the fiat based, you know, like, stable coin, could they do pay in that and use that as well?
Yeah, it just has to be supported by one of the protocols.
I can take anything. I could take this. I could take this obscure whatever. It's all a matter of whether you're willing to accept X amount of whatevs in that transaction, right? And
because
it's like, you know,
it doesn't matter, right? Because let's say, just denominate what you're selling in dollars, right? You need a certain amount of any asset to equal that dollar amount. It's swapped into a stable coin of that dollar amount and sent your asset. So you could have a meme coin with a wiener on it. I don't care, right? Or a big butt, like a butt coin. I don't care. Fart coin. I don't think we support. I don't know if DEX aggregation, if we have those yet, but just an example, like, this is where we want to get. We want to get to this point where who cares what the asset is? Doge. Who cares, right? Like, if it's an asset, it has a market valuation. If it's swappable, you want to pay in that? Right, we have to we have to retrain our minds, because if you're an American, you think in dollars. In Coke's native country, you think in that native currency, right? You have to imagine having multiple currencies, and you can choose what currency you can pay with. Maybe it's XRP, maybe it's Bitcoin, maybe it's Litecoin. That's a different wiring, because we have been conditioned with fiat for so long to think in really one-dimensional way. Like, this opens up everything.
I mean, I will say XRP does the same, like, a very similar, that, like, they are that, like, in between, go between, and, you know, they have the pathfinders to find the cheapest way to exchange this for that, right? But, you know, being built for like the larger institutions and all of that sort of thing, this kind of is. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. In I don't know what Simon's thoughts are on this. In the XRPers that are in the audience, but it sounds like a very similar concept to what XRP can do already, with the exception of, I mean, but XRP is not directly doing chain for chain, right?
No, we're solving different problems.
Yeah, see,
we're solving different problems. We complement each other very well.
That's what I was wondering. I mean, there could be other, like, I think, like OmniChain, I think, and there's some other, like, projects out there that are wanting to, you know, do the whole interoperability of the different chains, right? And I've always said that you want to be more than one choice. No matter who you are. Some of these are going to be, not getting froggy. Some of these are going to be, you got to do the know your customer, and it's on different terms. If you're gonna want to interact, and yours is more, sounds like straight up freedom based, you know, without having to do the know your customer. Optimistic wants to know how difficult it is to get a token that's already built on the XRP Ledger on the THORChain. And she keeps talking about the token that hasn't been really released to the public yet. But like, how do you determine can any coin participate on THORChain?
Yeah, it's whitelisted, and you need to have at least 10,000 RUNE in depth, right? So it's because you have to have some depth so you can make a swap. If it's the pool is too shallow, then you cannot make a swap, right? You got to have some money in there. So you have to be whitelisted, and then you need 10,000 RUNE worth of depth at least. I think that's what the code is. I'm really racking my brain here. But technically, any coin, any chain or token or whatever you call it that lists on the XRPL, you could make a pool for that. Yes, you just got to go through the whitelisting process.
Gotcha.
Yeah, same happens with ETH. We have a lot of ETH tokens available: USDT, USDC, etc. So yeah, initial seeding of the pool, so there at least some minimum liquidity that people can go through, and you're good to go.
Man, guys, this has been a fantastic conversation. We have like 5 minutes left. Simon, like, do you have any questions that I didn't even get? We're on like part 3 of my questions, although I think we kind of like touched on a lot of the ones that I had in there. Because I mean, we talked a little bit about the RUNE. I guess unless you have something, Simon, there is the question with the whole 5 years ahead, the hopes and dreams for THORChain. What more are you guys wanting to achieve in this crypto space? What about that? Any hopes and dreams?
I have a lot. Coke, do you want to take that one? I've been chatting a lot. I want if you want a shot at that.
Yeah, I would say all the roads will lead to THORChain. So that's the whole premises of THORChain. We wanna connect everything, and I would say when it comes to future, now when we kind of got the Rujira, it has to be our stream. Rujira on top of THORChain. So this is going to be like this DeFi layer. It's done really safely. They can only use the send and receive function like every other transaction. So we made it sure it's safe. And so this is going to be Binance on chain. So we have already fantastic features there. So we touched on the AMM, so the pools, and we kind of said like the order books are bad. Actually, order books are not bad. Just it's how it's done on Binance. It's done with IOUs. But Rujira has on-chain order books as well. So if order book is executed well, it's actually an amazing tool, because you maybe want to set yourself a price that you want to sell your token with. So you have your limit swaps. We have perps coming. We have different investment features and tooling there as well. We have the liquidity coming there. So they are designing the way to just use all those Rujira app layer available tools and acquire value, do arbitrage, whatever their whatever type of scripts or bots they have running there. So there's a lot of stuff coming. As Pragmatic Monkey, one of the devs there, said there's at least 40 teams at the moment in talks trying to build on top there. So a lot of things are there, and exciting stuff is coming. So I think this is enough for next 5 years. Yeah. More chains, more liquidities, more fees, and on top of that, a lot of functionality.
Nice.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
I want to highlight something. Oh, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Simon.
Go.
That was well said. He nailed it right. We want to connect everything. And then I guess since he did the technicals, I'll try and hit the ethos part of it. Like what we're trying to build here, as I've been trying to allude to, is ultimately freedom. I'm a elected official. I'm a minor politician. I'm a board member. And I've done political groups. I've been to fundraising events. I've talked to senators. I've talked to very powerful people in my own state. I live in Arizona. I got to tell you guys, these people don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about anything. They're in their own self-interest. There are some really beautiful people in the government who are trying their best, but they are heavily outnumbered. The thing, what I think about is I look at the world, I look at the pain, the chaos, just everything that's going on. It's not sustainable. We cannot continue to go down this way. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe with the Trump administration, we have some moments of stability. Maybe 4 years, fiat does fine. You know, maybe some miracle in the debt goes down. I highly doubt it, but maybe some miracle happens like this. In my mind, the system is going to fail at some point. When that is, I don't know. So what we are building is the future. It is what your family is going to use, your children, or maybe your grandchildren who are not born yet. Simon, Melissa, your friends' family, Coke, my friends, my family. One day I aspire to have children of my own. We only have one opportunity to do this. And I mean, it's quite serious. This is deadly serious stuff. We have one opportunity to get this right. And if we mess this up, we fail forever. Permissionlessness is the only way to accomplish that. If we have a permission element on THORChain, then it can be controlled by a third party and you or anyone else can be subjugated. This cannot be tolerated. So just like email can be sent to anyone else, we need to be able to transact freely, just like we did in the founding of our country. This is a hard task to accomplish, but this is what we want to do. And it's not about THORChain or it's about XRP. We are one in the same community. So I'm reaching out to anyone listening to this, whether you're listening live or the recording. We need you and we need each other. We need to come together and solve this problem. And I firmly believe we can do that. Especially now, we have some time of stability where we have a government that's not so crazy and so terrible like they did to you, and how Ripple had to spend so much money fighting a battle that you fought largely for us, and which we appreciate, right? 20-something million dollars or whatever it is. Or no, it was way more than that. That's incredible. 200 million, right? It's an absurd amount of money. And you guys fought that battle. This is about us paying thanks to you as well. So we're in this together. So I encourage everyone to learn about THORChain. I'm learning about XRP. Let's come together and let's deliver this thing and let's free the world. It's not romanticism. It's literal. It's happening, but we have to deliver. So if you're a builder, whether you're on THORChain, XRP, put your nose to the grindstone. You have at least 4 years. Build your heart out and let's get this thing done.
Let's go. They don't call you Patriot Sounds for nothing. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on the Dip a Toe Show. Want to remind we have 1,307 people watching this evening. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Dip a Toe channel on YouTube at Dip a Toe. We are going to have an after space. It's going to start on X at 10:10 Eastern Standard Time. So in just enough time to go to the bathroom and get a drink of water in 8 minutes, I'm going to be starting that space. Love it if you gentlemen would join us. Coke, I realize it's 3-4 o'clock in the morning for you, but I do want to thank you for coming to the Dip a Toe Show. And you guys, you 1,300 people that are watching, head over to X and we'll be opening that space shortly. Simon, any final words?
This is arguably one of the best shows in crypto. Think and grow. You better be dipping that toe.
Huh? Let's go. Have a good night, everybody.